Macmillan Audio presents Good for You, Great for Me by Lawrence Susskind. Read for you by Sean Runnette.
Introduction. Finding the Trading Zone at Golden Pond. My wife, Leslie, came dashing up from the beach. We were renting a small cottage by a lake in New Hampshire. For us, it was Golden Pond, an idyllic place to spend time with our 2 young children. We managed to scrape together just enough to afford a 2-week vacation. "You'll never guess who I was talking to," she gushed. "Ralph. He says that they're selling the cottage. Their son is getting divorced. He wants to cash out a share of the property. I told him we would absolutely buy the place." I thought for a moment. "How much are they asking?" "I don't know," she said. "I told him you were the negotiator and you would handle the details." My mind raced. I could certainly see myself spending a lot more time by the lake. But could we afford it? What had Leslie promised? Owning the cottage would be terrific, but what was Ralph's asking price? I had nothing to go on. I tried to estimate what the annual rental income would be if we bought the cabin but didn't live in it. My back-of-the-envelope estimate, based on the rent we were paying, was that we would clear about $15,000 each year after taxes and expenses. At prevailing interest rates, calculating very quickly, we could use that money to cover a mortgage of about $85,000. When I talked with Ralph later that afternoon, there was an ironic smile on his face. He knew I was boxed in. "You've been great tenants, and we know how much you love the place. We were delighted when Leslie said you wanted to buy it." I thought to myself, what has Leslie gotten me into? "We'll be very sad to leave," he said. "Since none of the cabins is sold since the original owners bought them 7 years ago, it's hard to know what they're worth. With the common land owned by the Lake Association, it makes it hard to calculate the actual value of each cottage. In addition to your own cottage, you'll own 1/9 of the lake." I could feel his eyes boring into me. $105,000, he said. "I think that's really fair. We're glad to be selling the cabin to people who love the place as much as we do, and it's only 90 minutes from Boston. You'll get to use it all the time." Ralph and I both knew that Leslie had more or less made a commitment. I would have to find a way to finance the purchase. He was the business manager for a famous magazine and a highly experienced negotiator. I was just starting out. His wife, a local real estate agent, had been quite firm when Leslie made the original deal with her to rent their cottage. I felt trapped, but excited. I had no time to talk to anyone. Could we handle a second mortgage? Could we swing a $20,000 down payment by refinancing our primary mortgage? "Ralph," I said, "since you're moving out of state, would you be willing to leave the current furnishings and include them in the sale price?" "Done," he said. I figured that would save me about $10,000. That felt like a victory. I could see a deal taking shape. Presumably, I could get an $85,000 mortgage, find $20,000 for the down payment, and avoid the cost of having to furnish the place. I've always wondered whether he really had $105,000, or even less, in mind as his final selling price. Unfortunately, I never asked the questions that would have allowed me to find out. I was in too much of a rush to close the deal. I didn't try to imagine the speech he would have to give to his wife and son to be able to declare victory. Once Ralph talked to Leslie, and she indicated that we would buy the cabin, we were in what I call the trading zone. That is, both of us had reason to be optimistic there was a deal to be done. He was under a lot of pressure from his back table, and Leslie had her heart set on a family future by the lake, putting pressure on me. I had no idea what the cottage was worth on the open market. I was sure, though, that if I didn't close the deal quickly, another buyer would swoop in and take the cottage from us. You enter the trade.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?